How many of you know the mind's a battlefield? We talk about the mind, it's a battlefield, and immediately I saw this in verse 30. Jesus tells this story, and he says a Jewish man was traveling from Jerusalem down to Jericho, and notice the imagery here, and he was attacked by bandits. They stripped him of his clothes, they beat him up, and they left him half dead beside the road. Now again, what scholars will tell you is this road this man was on from Jerusalem to Jericho, this was known to be a dangerous road. This was a road that you didn't really want to travel by yourself because it was common for thieves and bandits to hide out in some of the rock cliffs and just different windy places in the road, and they would jump out of nowhere and attack you. And I think one of the things that Jesus wants us to be aware of is this, is that we have an enemy out there who wants to destroy our life. I mean, think about the imagery. He wants to attack us. He wants to strip us of everything and leave us for dead. That reminds me what Scripture says, that the enemy wants to steal, kill, and destroy. We have an enemy out there. And we've got to know this and be aware of this, but also understand he's strategic. He targets certain areas of our life in order to try to destroy us. And one of the main targets he goes after is your mind and my mind. He goes after our thought life. He goes after our thinking. And again, you've got to kind of piece this together. There's a spiritual battle that's taking place. And what's happening is that Satan wants us to exalt our mind. Now just think about the world today. This is important. What do most people gravitate towards? They gravitate towards knowledge, towards understanding, and towards information. That's what people go after today. And if we're honest, that's what you and I are also tempted to go after. We want more information, we want more knowledge, because ultimately we crave understanding. That's what we want. And I think you've got to ask the question, why is that? Why is that so prevalent? Why are we even tempted in this way? And I think the reason is this, or one of the reasons, is that Satan is trying to get us to exalt our minds, because in the process of doing that, here's what happens: we shut down our heart. Let me say that again. When you and I, when we exalt our mind, we shut down our heart. And here's what happens when you exalt your mind. You become powerless and ineffective. And you're thinking, well, does Scripture support that? Well, absolutely. Because the New Testament says this, that it's possible to have a form of godliness, but you deny the power thereof. What is part of that idea? It's you have the knowledge, you have the information, and somewhat you have the understanding, but it hasn't affected your heart. You've shut your heart off. And so you go through the motions, and then you ask yourself when you lay your head on your pillow at night, why am I so ineffective? Why do I feel like I'm weak? Why do I feel like I'm powerless? And it's because there's a battle that's going on for your mind. And we've got to be aware of that. Think about it this way. When we exalt our mind, it kills our hearts, which causes us to separate ourselves from God. This is important. And so Jesus right up front says, you want to love me with your mind? Then understand there's a battle that's going on for your mind. And here's what information tries to do. Let me just say this. This is a side note. I don't do many rabbit trails, but I'll do this right here real quick, all right? Information tempts us to be God. That's what it does. Because if we think we're in the know and we've got it all figured out, why do I need God? I know it all. I've got it all figured out. I don't need him. And that causes us to separate ourselves from God. So there's a battle happening for your mind.